All right, here we go.
Covering the Orioles the only way we know how. As fans. Section 336, the next generation.
Hey, don't go on that. I forgot to hit record.
Unbelievable. Working with amateur hour over here.
All right. That's a screw up for the YouTube people. It's all new. It's only week 3. Here we go.
Covering the Orioles the only way we know how. As fans. Section 336, the next generation of Baltimore sports talk.
Today on the show, our Baltimore sports talk hits harder than Pac-Man Jones hitting a defensive receiver as we take a look at the Chris Davis deal from all angles. And spoiler alert, there will probably be a lot of yelling and screaming, and the word dong will be said at least 10 times in the conversation. We will also look at what's next for the Orioles, and if we have time, we'll squeeze in a little NFL and Terp talk. So gather all the kiddies around the iPhone, pull out a cold 6-pack of Natty Boh, tell Siri to clear your calendar for the next hour as you and your sports-obsessed family join us in Section 336.
Section 336.com. Buckle up, birds, be ready to ride. Your host, Max Shashabird, are ready to fly. Baltimore's best, Section 336, the #1 sports broadcast, get your fix. What's the news? Let's talk about Buck, our favorite Orioles. What's the latest lineup? Home runs and stolen bases. This is a trip. Stay tuned in at 336.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Baltimore sports fans of all ages, welcome to Section 336, Baltimore's best sports talk. I'm your endearingly stuttering host, Matt Soroka. As always, I'm joined by the zany Bert Rohde.
Back in the 336 studios, live on video. This is the real deal.
I was hoping that I would do the introduction fast enough. I was talking quickly.
You're still talking quickly.
So we could get to Josh before he got back in his seat.
Oh, I see what you did there.
So I was going for it. I didn't quite make it. We're also joined by the button lover, Josh Soroka.
Yeah, it just had to help with a little technical stuff.
Yeah.
Let the YouTubers know that it is not Drew Forrester sitting with us today.
Is that what was on there?
Yeah.
Oh, the under thing?
It said his name was Drew Forrester.
We are not joined by Drew Forrester. We are joined by Eric. Eric from Barstool. Eric, welcome to Section 336.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We're pumped to have you. We're pumped really to have anyone besides the intern sit in that chair. So
Ouch.
So Eric will be joining us today for
any coincidence. As soon as we get a camera for that chair, we make sure someone else is filling it each week.
Well, I tell you what, and I thought, and we were having, last week we had Drew on, this week we're having Eric in, and I thought this would be one of those times where it's great to have guests, especially because it's kind of the off season and there's nothing to talk about. But it turns out there is actually something to talk about.
It started with me texting Eric saying, "Why don't you come next Tuesday? We'll talk Cespedes."
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what it looked like we would be talking about.
Might well have been.
Yeah. And people, now that we're on YouTube, and you should check out our YouTube page if you haven't, or you should subscribe to our YouTube page if you haven't. But now that we're on YouTube, people can really see how dysfunctional this podcast is, with people just looking around, getting up, running around every now and then, and just a total chaos. It is Section 336. That's fun.
We should mention that the intern is actually in the building tonight, though.
He's manning the computer. He doesn't have a mic at all.
No.
Which is probably better off for everybody, but he's manning. I'm sure he's over there tweeting out things, as well as he's in control of the cameras. So if there's too much zany Bert Rohde, then maybe the little man crush is coming through, and it's too that stuff happens. So hopefully the intern will spread it around good. But yeah, the intern has control of the cameras.
Yeah, I had to get up a little earlier and go help the computer because the camera was stuck on Bert.
Yeah. I think that might happen. I think that might happen a couple times.
I'm thinking maybe he was pressing that button a little too hard.
Yeah, I think this might be a conspiracy by Bert and the intern together to
think that little B button might be broken.
I've just noticed that you can see the intern, though, in my camera view just over my left shoulder. There he is right through the window there.
Oh, nice.
He's giving his thumbs up right there.
Yeah, sweet.
There's our boy.
Yeah, that
baby boy.
All right, without further ado, let's get into this talk. By the way, if you want to find us each week, you can find us on Utah Street Report. I don't know how often we say that.
Yeah.
But we are associated with Utah Street Report and Russell Street Report.
You wrote a little article for them this week?
Yeah, we wrote a little article about Chris Davis. So let's start there, guys. Chris Davis, if you didn't hear, where have you been? Chris Davis was signed 7-year, $161 million.
Yeah.
Do you think there's really any chance you just broke that news to someone?
Wow.
What? Wait a minute. We signed Chris
Someone
Davis?
somewhere just fell off his chair.
I do have a buddy who just moved out to Hawaii, and Monday morning he texted me and said, "This is awesome. I just saw we signed Davis." And I was like, "What do you? This happened Saturday morning." And
Yeah.
he goes, I'm living in Hawaii. He goes, "I don't care. I don't care about real sports now." And
Is that's the delay to get news to Hawaii?
I guess so. Yeah. So
Yeah, that makes history in Hawaii. I've been in Hawaii a couple of times, and when I was there, I never checked what was going on in the real world. It's
Yeah.
a different world out there.
Well, we all probably went to bed Friday night thinking, all right, we're probably going to get Cespedes. This is looking good.
Yeah, I was pretty pumped on Cespedes.
Yeah, I wasn't that pumped. I knew that $90 million deal was a bit fictitious, like Ospey would sign.
Oh, okay.
But
Sure you did.
Smart guy, you.
Yeah. I'm more intelligent than you guys are. I wasn't.
Right.
But,
No one else is making any offers. There's no way he'll sign for $90 million.
Yeah. Well,
Sorry, if someone throws $90 million at me for anything, I'll do it.
anything?
Anything?
For $90 million? For whatever it was, 4 years? 5 years?
Would you
Sure.
eat a pack of purple crayons?
We know
Yeah,
a guy.
no problem. Every day for 7 years.
So let's start here. Where were you guys when you saw the Chris
Where
Davis
were we?
sign? Where were you, and how did you find out about the Chris Davis signing?
Well, like most normal people, when I wake up in the morning, I grab my phone and I see what did I miss on Twitter last night, and that's the first thing I saw.
Is that all you guys found out?
Yeah, in bed.
yep.
Yeah. Yeah, not wearing much.
Half
lying
naked.
in bed.
I thought I sent you guys.
Were you guys like me though, where you were confused when you looked at it on your phone? Like it didn't make sense?
I got like 6 or 7 text messages, and I could hear my phone going off, and I'm like, what?
Right.
It's 8:30. Like, what's going on? And I looked at it, and all I saw was 161 with exclamation marks from a buddy of mine, and I'm like, oh, okay, I don't know what that means. And I hop on Twitter and I see the Rosenthal and Rock and all that.
Yeah.
So.
Eric's got some good friends that were text that information. It's like, nobody tells me. I got to find it out for myself.
I checked my email. That's how I found out. I checked my email.
Who emailed you?
Derek Arnold with he wanted knee-jerk reactions to the Chris Davis signing.
You learned from your email?
Yeah.
That's a
What is
weird
it,
way to
1998?
How do you get on your email and miss Twitter and Facebook and text messages?
I go to my email first before I go on Twitter.
Weird.
By the way, Josh, did you get an email from Derek Arnold wanting knee-jerk reactions?
No.
Because I sure didn't.
Well, I think Derek has read your writing.
Yeah, that comes to it. My knee-jerk reactions are better in 140 characters.
No offense taken, Derek.
Yeah. I thought I let you guys. I messaged you guys on Facebook about the news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
wasn't the
When was
first?
that? Tuesday?
No, that was Saturday at like 4 or 5 o'clock.
Yeah, that was old news by the time you messaged it.
You'll notice I ignored it. I didn't even give it a response.
Whenever I do that, like, hey guys, breaking news, you guys always ignore it. Why is that?
Because you get your news from your email.
It's more obnoxious than anything
It's
else.
generally not breaking.
What we were talking about is I want your reaction to the thoughts on having Chris Davis now in the lineup. He meets a serious need of this team, right? A guy in the middle of the lineup, left-handed hitter. So from that standpoint, Chris Davis meets a huge need of this team, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he makes the lineup way better than it was last week.
Yeah. Well, does he make it better than a Cespedes would have?
The lineup, yes.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes.
A left-handed hitter, right?
It just adds
that's a
that
big thing.
that left-handed protection.
Yeah.
And to have him and Jones and Trumbo all in the lineup together is going to help each other get more pitches. And what Davis does that Cespedes could not do is Davis got a lot of walks last year.
Yeah.
So he led the team on base percentage last year. And that's something that we've struggled with. So to have our team leader in that is helpful.
And there is some debate about the contract, and we'll get to that here in a minute. But is this, if you look at the offense, are we good as far as offensively? Can we say,
Yeah.
okay, we have a right fielder now in Kim. We got Davis back. We got Wieters. Are we good offensively? We got Trumbo. Are we good offensively?
Right now, where's the weak spot in the lineup? J.J. Hardy?
Well, it's J.J. Hardy, and it's
The corner outfield spot.
and we don't have a left fielder. If you have Reimold,
Right. And that's, right fielder. Yeah. Whether it's Reimold or
yes, I meant
Ureta.
right fielder, yeah,
or Alvarez or Hose.
or LJ
Yeah.
Hose. We got several.
Oh, I forgot
four
LJ
players.
Hose is back. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Xavier Avery's down in AAA, I think.
Plus, we should figure Ryan Flaherty will be in the lineup every other day for some random reason.
I was saying no because is this lineup going to score 8 or 9 runs a game? Because that's how many runs our starting pitchers are going to allow every game. So unless this lineup can score enough runs to keep up with how many runs our pitching is going to give up, I'm going to say we could use another guy.
Well, except the question was about the offense.
Yeah.
Right. So
Well, that's the answer. Can they score 9 runs a game?
I think they can. I think they can
think-
score 15 runs a game. The problem is we've seen this offense before, and they'll score 15 on Monday, 12 on Tuesday, and 0 Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
And in one of those years, there will be no hit.
right. They'll be
By a guy you never heard of.
Yes.
But then also in October, they'll get 3 hit and won't score any runs.
Yes,
again.
yes. You rely on somebody like Nate McLeod to get your only runs, or
Right.
Ryan Flaherty to get the only run in the single playoff game.
Or even last year, people talk all about the pitching last year. And last year in September, the hitting went away. Just look at the numbers. The hitting went away in September. And so to say the offense, I think the offense finished something like 9th in runs.
Yeah.
They weren't in the top 3 in runs last year. So it's not like our offense was dominant last year. Our pitching was bad. Our offense was average. And somehow we finished 500, which is kind of amazing if you look back at it. But how many runs do you need to score to not have pitching?
more than the other team.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. How many runs do you have to score to have Mike Wright as your 5th starter? Like how many? Mike Wright's going to need at least 8 runs a game.
Get used to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 32. I think like our biggest loss was around 31 many years ago. So I think if we can
Not
get
that many
32 a
years
game,
ago.
we can win all the games.
So if we look at team needs for the Orioles, right field is a need. Pitching is a need. Is that it? A starting pitcher and a right fielder?
Those are the big things for this year.
Bullpen's good. Power bats are good. Could always use another on-base guy, a speed guy. But it's not like they're out there for the taking.
Right.
I think you're fine with utility guys too, as long as Flaherty
Sure.
stays healthy. He can,
That's
you can plug
true,
him
yeah.
in anywhere. Pretty much.
Our bench is fine. I don't even know how much we really need a right fielder. If you look at our lineup, and I know like Alvarez, Hose, like I know the options there. Avery.
Well, and
Heredia, too.
every team's going to have a weakness.
Yeah,
And
but
to-
if you
and
look
to
at the
have-
rest of our lineup, if that's one position, everyone throws out, and I love throwing this out. When 2012 was Lou Ford was our DH going to the
Right.
playoffs. Like every lineup is going to have a spot that's somewhat weak, but I think Bert's point is valid too. This offense is going to need to score a lot of runs. We're going to
Yes.
have to finish in the top 5 in offense if we want to
Yeah.
be a competitive team with that pitching rotation. So,
But it is nice to look at that lineup and know that you have Chris Davis, Adam Jones, Manny Machado, Jonathan Scope
Healthy
lined
leaders.
up for many years.
yeah, is this lineup right now? It's got to be better than last year's lineup, right?
It's better because you're putting in Trumbo, and then Hardy can't be worse than he was last year. Wieters can't really be worse than he was last year.
Well, and Kim is
Kim is-
an upgrade over what, Snyder,
David Lowe.
And, I mean, Para. How bad was Para when he was with us? Batted what, 230 with
Yeah, it
us.
was
So
horrible.
you have to think any right fielder is going to bat 230.
Right.
Put in there. So I mean, I'm bullish on the or I'm optimistic on the Orioles, especially offensively. I'd like to get another pitcher. Right?
Yeah, definitely. That's a need. Of course, we'd like a left-handed starter. I don't know if one of them's available. So I'll just take a right-handed starter. I'll just take a veteran, someone, because
Give me a name.
I'm on the Doug Fister camp.
All right.
I think Doug Fister.
Are you
is
Fister
doing
guy,
well.
too,
Yeah.
He's a guy we can get a little cheap. He had a down year, but he's a proven guy that can at least help with some leadership and some innings that this team needs.
And I think I saw that he was saying that he only wants, I think it was 2 years, $22 million.
Yeah, that's
which
the number
doesn't-
I've heard, yeah.
That doesn't
And that-
seem.
No, and that
Yeah,
kind of falls
huge.
into we got about 10 left this year. So
I also heard the name, the Matt Latos.
Yeah.
Guys like that who, I mean, I wouldn't mind them taking a flyer on Latos.
And that would probably be another 1 or 2 year deal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had a rough year last year, so I'm not on the train of giving up the pick for Gallardo. I wouldn't. Not a real big fan of that guy.
Yeah, I haven't heard anyone say they are.
I think it's tied to, and it's the draft pick. I think.
Yeah.
I just don't know if people want to,
Drew-
give up a pick for that.
Drew Forrester last week wanted him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's who he said.
Yeah, he said that was the last legitimate. I mean, he is. I mean, he's in the past. He's thrown 200 innings. He's been
Right. He's
reliable. He's
the
the only
animator.
guy that's kind of, you know what you're getting with him. It might not be great or spectacular, but he's going to get an ERA in like the low 4s. And he's going to throw 190 innings, and you know that. With Latos and Fister, there's more question marks there. I wonder how Fister will be able to pass our physical.
Yeah, I heard they were saying I think he's lost some mile per hour off his fastball over the last few years.
Yeah, he's had
which-
some injury issues.
Yeah, I mean, he played. He was all right for the Nats when he was with them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's not an old man. He's not.
No.
What was he? 31 or something? 30, 31?
Can't be much
he's in
more.
his early 30s.
But that 2 years, $22 million doesn't scare. It doesn't scare me. I would like to think that the O's could do that any day of the week.
Right.
So.
And that's what I think the Orioles should do is a short-term deal like that, because I think there are some answers coming over the horizon, like a Hunter Harvey or Dylan Bundy. One of those guys is going to turn into a starter.
Yeah.
Hopefully, both of them turn into really good starters.
Right, and then you're right.
And
guys
they'll be ready.
Mike
And they'll be ready in
stuff,
2
they
years.
just need more time.
Yeah.
well-
Tyler Wright.
Jason
Tyler,
Garcia, Tyler Wilson.
Tyler Wilson.
Yeah.
We got guys that just need more time.
Jason Garcia, perhaps. Yeah. So a couple more years, fifth starter to kind of hold that off. But right now, like, we don't have a fifth starter. Vance Worley is like or
Brian Mattis.
or Brian Mattis or Jason Garcia or Tyler Wilson, someone who's not ready to be there is going to be in there.
Yeah.
Right.
Those are the two options.
Yeah, that's not what we
Matt, what would you rather have? One of these fifth starters who if say we don't get anybody, we don't get Fist or we don't get any of these guys.
Yeah.
And we're stuck with what we've got.
Yeah.
Is your 5 starter? Would you rather go with someone like Mike Wright or Tyler Wilson, and risk having nothing but 5 right-handed starters, or do you give Brian Mattis a shot just for the sole fact that we could have a left-hander in the
Stop
rotation?
trolling me.
I want to know your opinion.
You know how I feel about Brian Mattis. I love him.
He's no doubt going to get unless we sign anybody, he's going to get a shot in spring training.
And I think he should. Let's give all these guys shots in spring training. Let's give Jason Garcia a shot. Let's give Tyler Wilson.
maybe Bundy.
Yeah,
Bundy.
No, not Bundy. Stop.
Bundy was supposed to be the guy. He's forced to be on our team.
Josh.
Why not?
Because he's coming off of 10 injuries and he can only throw 10 innings this year. Like he's on an innings count.
But you
It's literally
understand,
that is 10 innings is his max.
if he pitches one game and gets hurt, that helps us out. It frees up a spot on our 40 man.
Eric, don't nod your head like
I'm just saying,
Bundy getting hurt's a good thing. Stop.
I think it's gonna happen. I feel like that they're gonna find a way to hide him on the team.
I think they will
A
too.
Dylan Bundy pothole is a good thing.
No, but fine. Sprain your ankle. Another shoulder injury is not good because he's still part of this future team.
Do it like a hangnail or something that heals.
Yeah.
Not something that's going to last season after season.
The guess is he'll probably start the season on rehab
for something.
for extended spring training or something because he's been so injured, and they'll probably stretch him out. And
Didn't they do that with Jimmy last year? Paredes, didn't they like stash him? They didn't have a spot for him on the roster.
Yeah.
And they
Extended spring training.
Someone got hurt and they brought him up like right away.
Yeah, and he was awesome.
Yeah,
and then he was not awesome.
crashed hard.
And then he was terrible.
Yep.
Yeah.
forgot about that guy.
Yep.
But Josh, I think you're dismissing Dylan Bundy a little bit too quickly. He is not Jason Garcia. He's more talented than Jason Garcia.
How am I dismissing him? I said put him in the rotation.
Because he can't pitch the innings. If he can pitch, he's going to be throwing 96, 97. He's going to be throwing heat, and he'll be coming out of the pen. If he doesn't get hurt, he'll be a decent pen arm out there. He'll be an upgrade, I think, over Jason Garcia last year as the long man, or as the.
I hope so.
and
Garcia
blow up.
looked good at the end of the season, but not at the beginning.
Yeah, I hope Garcia gets a chance to start and may prove himself. You don't know, like maybe one of these guys will emerge by All-Star break, and you'll have a clear guy in the minors, whether it's a Wilson, whether it's Garcia,
Sure.
that's clearly going to be that guy.
I think it's safe to say, like every year with the Orioles, the 5 that start in April are not the 5 that finish in August.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like we're talking about Vance Worley as our 5th starter. What if one of the starters get hurt? Like then, or one of us gets the stomach flu and then comes back and is the worst pitcher whoever's pitched in the world, as in Bert's boy Bud Norris. Like what happens if one of these guys goes the Bud Norris route?
I still don't see why we didn't bring him back. Give him a chance. He was a stud in 2014.
Where's he at, the Braves?
Yeah.
The Braves are signing anyone.
Yeah. Bud Norris, case in point.
So for depth, like there's no depth. So you would think they would have to sign a pitcher. Is this are they gonna sign a pitcher?
They have to.
Is this a no-brainer? Is this like I thought Chris Davis or someone, a big bat, was 100% chance that they would sign? What percent chance do you put on them signing another starter?
What did I say? 20%?
said-
I'm sticking with the 20%.
You said signing a high-price free agent.
Yeah.
We wrote it. We have a whiteboard here. We wrote it down. Bert said there's a 20% chance, and there's a
what pitcher
100%
knows?
chance that Bert was wrong.
Yeah.
Because we signed Chris Davis. That counts as a high. Does he count as a high-price free agent? Would you call
Yes.
$160 million high price? All right.
Yeah, we'll go.
This is the kind I like being wrong about. That's okay. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
And I was in a bad mood that night.
Yeah.
And I'm in a bad mood again tonight.
The
so
intern and
20%.
we saw it the whole. We saw Angelos. We saw it the whole way. We said 100%. Josh said 75%. The chance percent of pitcher, Bert, you're going with 20%.
I'm sick of it. I got it right with the first one. I mean, not that I got it right, but
How'd you get it right at 20%?
I lowballed it, and I turned out being wrong. So I'm going to lowball it again and hope I'm wrong again.
Right.
I see.
20%
Take one for the team.
always better than negative 20%. He was still on the winning side.
Now, I'm not talking just about a bullpen arm. I'm not talking about one of these
mean a number-
a minor league guy that we hope works out. I'm talking about a major league starter. What are the chances, Josh?
100%.
100%.
I'm not saying he's going to be good.
but good enough to be on our starting five.
A good enough.
That's the thing. That's the
good
whole
enough,
percentage.
Good enough that we are going to give him a shot in the spring to make the starting five.
Oh, one of those guys.
Like maybe a Cliff Lee type guy we can get cheap for a 1-year deal who's old and trying to
But
establish
might not make the
himself.
team.
Might not make the
With
team.
a bad spring, he's not going to make the team.
Right.
Okay.
Like didn't we do that with Santana
Yeah, Johan.
last year?
Yeah, we've done it with a bunch of guys. Who was that Brave guy we did? He was in the minors for a little bit. Oh man.
Brave guy. Just
He had
think
a
of
cool
Sweaty
name.
Freddy.
Jair Jurgens?
Yeah, Jared Jurgens.
Oh, yeah.
We did them for a while.
Didn't
Thank
they
you,
have
Bert.
who? Mark Hendrickson last year, the
Yep.
grandpa?
Yep.
Yeah.
45.
They had him thrown down there. Yeah.
Jim Palmer's always still a possibility.
It's true.
So yeah, Josh. So you're saying 100%. Eric, what percent are you putting on this?
Now, is this just signing a guy, or are we talking about can they make a trade in spring training?
Oh,
Is this-
either way, just adding
Adding
a
a starter?
starter to this team.
I'll go 60%. Because like Josh was saying, I think they could go out and maybe. I've heard the Cliff Lee name a lot, which kind of surprises me. But they, like I said, they did the thing with Johan a few years ago. They could do that. Yeah, I'm still holding out hope for Fister that they can go ahead and get a guy like that. And who knows if they can package, a Madison, someone for a starting pitcher as they go into, as they head towards the season.
Yeah, I mean, as the baseball is kind of going this direction, there's a lot of teams tanking, and there are teams with starters who are tanking. You look at teams like the I don't know, the Reds and Phillies come immediately to mind, but also teams like the Padres who have some big contracts they want to get rid of. So
Unloading everyone.
yeah, and the Rockies are another team like that.
Right.
So there are teams who I would think would want to unload pitchers.
But do we have any trade bait on our roster?
Yeah, sure we do.
Who?
For a fifth starter on his last year of his arbitration or last
We've
year of
got-
his deal. Yeah,
we've got
we do.
Mancini.
Yeah.
Christian Walker, too, I think.
Christian Walker.
I think they're more likely to give up Walker than Mancini.
Well, that's because Walker has sucked.
Yeah.
Walker
And
had
then-
a huge year a couple years ago.
He had like a huge game. He didn't do much in the majors.
Okay, but look at his stats in the minors two years ago, Josh. He lit it up.
Sure,
He lit it up at Bowie.
sure, but you're not going to get something for a minor league guy who can't make it in the majors.
Okay, I'm just saying
In that case, Brian Mattis would have been traded years ago.
I'm just saying you could package a couple different guys to get a fifth.
All right, so
starter.
what's your percentage?
huh?
What's your percentage?
My percentage?
Yeah, let's put it on the board.
I'm not optimistic. I'll say 35%. I wonder how much one of these fifth starters will be an improvement over a bum that we can have on the team already.
It won't be. But what it will be is a chance to work with those bums in the minors to prep them for July.
I guess I don't know.
Unless we get a guy like Doug Fister. I think Doug Fister would be an improvement.
Yeah, but
yeah.
there's a couple guys out there like Lados. I think has potential to be improvement. Fister could be. A couple of those guys would be for Gallardo would be an improvement. It'd be a bad move, but it'd be an improvement over what we have.
Because it's not like Fister would come in and you slide him in the fifth spot. I think he could be, your number two.
Yeah,
Maybe number three. Or even number one, I guess. You could put him in there.
yeah. I don't, who starts up in the day? Is it Tillman
Probably
again?
It's Tillman.
It has to be Tillman, yeah.
And his 5 ERA.
Unless, the only other option would be if Gaussman had an amazing
if Gaussman
spring.
kills it and he has a lot of hype around him and
And that's the question of, we should be expecting a lot out of Gaussman this year, right?
Yeah.
You in your own world over there?
Since he's
I-
ever to be slotted in every
Mm-hmm.
fifth day and to know his role, and you're right. This is I expect big things. I expect we expect him to turn into a 1 or 2.
about a 1 or 2 right now. But yeah, eventually,
To turn into,
yeah.
yeah.
But
I think I expect him to be our 1 or 2.
I
Right?
guess you could say that. Yeah.
Who else is better than him on this team right now?
At times Ubaldo that first half of Ubaldo
First half Ubaldo.
was pretty good, and then
Yeah.
second half was second half of Balto that we've come to know and love.
Well, and people are smoozing on Chen. Chen was awesome the first half of the year.
Yep.
He was okay second half of the year. If you look at his career, he had a great year last year. He's been with us 4 years. Half of those, two of those, his ERA was over 4. So he was never an ace. If you guys remember, he would never pitch past the sixth
He gets
inning.
tired.
So he has limitations, and I think sometimes we exaggerate how good Chen was. And I understand, hey, our team would be better with Chen on it than without him. But it's not. He was not in the running for Cy Young at any point. He's no Jake Arrieta.
That's right. Ouch.
All right. I put it off long enough.
Okay.
Chris Davis contract.
Yeah.
So you guys saw he was signed. I'm sure everyone's pretty pumped. Then you saw the contract.
It's a lot of money.
$161 million.
Yep.
Thoughts about the contract?
There's people who are pissed that the Orioles were basically bidding against themselves, or at least we have no reason to think otherwise.
Oh, but we do.
We didn't bid against ourselves. We bid against Scott Boras.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know how true that is, but okay. You guys must have sources that I don't have. So
You think there was another team in there?
There obviously was another team.
No way.
The Tigers were the other team.
How
Why?
do you
Why?
know that?
Because they jumped on Cespedes?
Maybe
Or,
because
Upton, I mean?
Justin
maybe
Upton.
because John Heyman, who's a baseball guy. You guys familiar with John Heyman on Twitter?
Yeah, I follow him. On
Right.
Twitter.
Yeah, I don't follow him because it annoys me. But people retweet his stuff, and sometimes I look at it. John Heyman wrote, "Tigers are interesting in that they seriously considered Davis before he went back to Baltimore." And then he also wrote, "Here, Mike Ilitch, who is the owner of the Tigers, was absolutely ready to sign Chris Davis before GM Avila talked him out of it."
All right. Where's the part where they made an
Less
offer?
money. Well, not they were seriously interested in him. I assume that there was some negotiations going on if they're seriously interested in somebody. Like we were interested in Cespedes. I just don't know why everyone assumes there was not another team. No one thought there was another team for Upton either, yet Upton signed a big deal too. But maybe there were other teams. Like maybe there's a reason. Like the Orioles aren't idiots. Dan Duquette is not one to get ripped off in deals.
Well, I don't think
Right?
I don't think he got ripped off in the deal.
You think Dan Duquette was locked out of the room, Josh, when Peter Angelos was there
Oh, no.
negotiating with Scott Boras?
Yeah,
that
I
didn't
do.
happen either.
I do think
it didn't happen, Josh.
I
That's
think
not how it
Peter
happened.
Angelos made this deal, but I don't think he was ripped off. I think the way they structured the deal with so much deferred money is what makes it work for the Orioles. And I think the fact that Scott Boras was advertising that he wanted 8 years, $200 million, and we got 161 is a win for Dan Duquette.
Right.
Because Boras, we know Boras. Boras would have let this go for another 3-4 weeks to try to get that $200 million.
Yeah, and one could say it's a win for Scott Boras because the talk was Orioles offered 150.
Right, saying final deal.
Yeah, final deal, and Scott Boras somehow got them to do 161. Eric, what are your thoughts on this deal?
Like you said, when I saw the 161, I went, "Wow, that's a lot of cash." Because
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, the Orioles have never given out a contract like that. The highest we've seen is what the Jones extension. I
Yeah,
guess?
which was what 80 something.
85, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, yeah, this is almost pretty much double that. So saw that I went, I don't know. Like you said, the last thing I heard was that 7 for 150 that was off the table, and then it was back on, and then it was off, and then so who knows what was going on with that. But yeah, I did read the Heyman tweets about them having the Tigers having at least a discussion about it. So that I had that in the back of my mind. But with the deferred money when that came in, that does make it a little bit better. It makes it easier to swallow because now you can go, oh well, it's pretty much. What was it, 7 for 119? Which you think like that's not a bad deal at all.
Right.
And you said,
Yeah, I've heard 7 for 123, 7 for 140, but we're talking about 17 million against the
Right.
or 17
You know
million
what it's
is
like?
what he's making this year.
It's like when you go to Best Buy and they say, well, you can buy this giant TV for 3 years, no payments.
Right.
And it's okay to push off the money. Now I can afford more.
Right.
Because I can take 5 years to pay it off and don't have to pay it today.
And haven't we done that before? Like, weren't we still paying Bobby Bonilla like 10
think we
years
still
after
are.
he was? Yeah, I don't know.
I know the Mets are.
The Mets were.
That's it,
That
the
was
Mets
the
are.
Mets were paying him a really long time.
Right.
Yes, and we will be paying Chris Davis until Albie and Camden are 22 years old.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, does that hinder us from signing guys? Or are we just going to keep deferring?
Which
Yeah,
is-
every guy every year.
just-
It's like a college kid with a credit card. You
Yeah.
just keep on deferring.
yeah. Well, we saw the extreme case with this last year with the Nationals and Boris, where like half the contract was a $200 million contract and 100 of it was deferred.
Yeah.
So this isn't quite as bad as that, but it's interesting.
So you have a rant though. You've been holding back.
Can I vent a little bit?
Yes.
Well, the other good part
Yeah.
about the contract, before you start complaining,
Yeah.
is like Dan Duquette wants, no opt out. Like he said he was going to get.
Yeah. Like you said, Josh, you came on and said week after week, you can't sign a high price free agent without an opt out. Everyone's doing it. You can't.
Yep.
You can't do it.
It sounds just like
And
him.
what
agree
did
with
Dan Duquette do? He signed a high price free agent without the opt out.
Yep. Yeah. I should have said it unless you're Chris Davis because it's the local.
Yeah.
It's the guy. He wants to be here.
He's our guy.
All right, here's my issue. I just got a little beef, and most of this came from Twitter. When I go on Twitter, this is why I hate Twitter sometimes. I follow all the nerds on Twitter. You know, the sabermetricians, all these guys, and these are mostly who I follow because they know baseball well.
Yeah, I used the Chris Davis news to decide who to stop following.
If I cared enough, I would have done the whole black thing because I got so annoyed with these nerds, right? Who I think that they would call themselves baseball nerds too. So I don't think I'm being mean by saying that. But these guys are idiots. I think I'm being mean by saying that.
That's a little mean.
Yeah. But no, here's my issue. If they had their way, they would have a team of Nori Aokis playing every position, and they would love life, right? Their World Series, these nerds who complain about the contract, I'm talking about the people who whine and complain about the Chris Davis contract. For these people, the World Series is the off season. And signing a player to a good deal, that's like we won the World Series. And I don't even think they care less about the Orioles. If the Orioles will win a World Series with Chris Davis, they care less about that, and they care more about did we get a good deal for him? Did we get a right price for him? So obnoxious.
Well, because everyone knows better.
And they think that they have more information than everybody else has. These are the guys who they're sitting at home in their mom's basements on their laptops, and they somehow have more information than everybody else, right? They know who else is on the deal. They know who.
Hey, that's my song.
You Rick. They know what type of clubhouse guy Chris Davis is apparently. They know how much he's worth, right? They know the best way to maximize Chris Davis in a lineup. So you see, the problem with these nerds is they think they're playing with little robots and not playing with human beings, which is so obnoxious. Aunt Kennedy, the same day Chris Davis was signed, got $70 million from the Royals.
Right.
That's an overpay. Everyone will agree that's an overpay.
Sure.
Right? Do the Royals know what they're doing? No, they're idiots, right? Because they overpaid for a player.
Right.
Oh, wait a minute.
They just slipped into the World Series.
They just won the World Series. They're not idiots. They know what they're doing. It's okay every now and then to overpay. If you waited till the perfect deal to fall on your plate every single time, you would sign about one player every 5 years, and the guy you signed would be Nori Aoki. You would not sign in the big high price free agents because they're all overpaid.
And and isn't it impossible to sign a big player long term without it eventually being a bad deal? Like year 7 of Chris Davis, he's probably going to be bad.
Yeah, players get bad when they get old.
But you play for those first years.
I want to call some people out by name if I may.
Okay.
Because these nerds.
So it's gonna get good.
You're going to call out the guy who said he had inside information about the Cespedes deal?
No, he's not even worth the discussion.
Yeah, he's not even in the country.
He's not in the country. Yeah, he's not worth the discussion. These guys are guys who I respect and really like a lot, but they annoy me here because they claim to be objective. Let's look at the numbers and the data. Let's not get overly emotional. But the responses to the Chris Davis deal were irrational and completely emotional, right? Here's I might butcher the names here, but Matt Kremenetzer, I think that's how you say it. All right, he's a good follow on Twitter. He says can't call Angelos cheap for this deal. Can definitely call him foolish. Camden Depot said, for the next 7 seasons, no one should be mad with Davis for his salary. It is ownership and front office who made this happen. By the way, if the Orioles win the World Series in the next 7 years, no one should give credit to Davis. Everyone should give credit to management for making them go to the World Series. Bird's Eye View, these knuckleheads, they say, and this is after it was released, the no trade and the no opt-out. They said on Twitter, more bad news. I assume that the first bad news was the signing of Davis. The more bad news is that he doesn't have an opt-out or
that we can't trade him.
Yeah. Jeff Long wrote, "What are you even doing?" I assume he's talking about the Orioles, right? And then later he wrote, nobody wants to talk about this, but there's zero chance this deal doesn't impact long-term negotiations with Machado, which, yeah.
Sure it does.
What?
It shows that the Orioles are willing to spend money.
Right now, he's
It's
making
good for
$17
Machado.
million. He'll be making $17 million for the next 6 years. Do you know who's also making $17 million? Adam Jones right now, who will be off the books, by the way, by the time Manny Machado becomes. Matt Wieters is making almost, who'll be off the book. You just take Jones and Wieters' contracts, boom, that's $4 million. Give that to Manny Machado for about 10 years, and you'll be good to go. So it doesn't stop you from signing Manny Machado. It's stupid. And Tony Lombardi... Tony Lombardi, he wrote a whole article for Utah Street Report, which was I didn't agree with the whole article.
It's right. It's what we were used to from an old radio station.
Well, at one point he wrote, it did nothing to improve the Orioles. How does signing Chris Davis do nothing? So maybe, I agree, I concede, maybe the deal won't work out great in the long run. Maybe he will turn out to be a disappointment. But maybe. You can't say right now, objectively, this was a terrible move and it did nothing to improve the Orioles. That's ridiculous. All right.
It's a huge improvement just from last week when he wasn't on the team.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't say...
Yeah.
You can't compare the team with him to the team with him and say it didn't make it better. You have to compare the team without him.
Yeah, right? And so the 7-year, $161 million comes out. Everyone freaks out. Then you find out, he's only making $17 million this year technically, and the rest is kind of the whole deferment.
Yeah, that's
thing.
great.
Right, which turns out to be a really good move. But people kind of have already made up their mind and get that $161 million mark stuck in their head and they can't get past it.
Right.
Then they see Justin Upton sign yesterday for what looks like a better deal. But then you find out with the Justin Upton deal, opt out after 2 years. Mm-hmm. So understand this opt out, guys. If Justin Upton breaks his arm or is somehow atrocious and turns into, Melvin Upton or something, if he goes terrible, they're stuck with him for 7 years? How long was the deal? And if he's great, they have him just for 2 years. Those opt-outs are stupid. I don't know why people do them.
Right, and you got to pay a little more to not have that opt-out in there.
Mm-hmm. And then people try to say, okay, the nerds like to make the comps. Well, we've seen this before. We've seen Chris Davis before. We've seen it before. Oh, you a time traveler?
Ryan Howard.
We have comps. Ryan Howard, right? Ryan Howard's just like Chris Davis. Ryan Howard plays for a terrible franchise. Ryan Howard has been accused of being lazy and out of shape, something Chris Davis is not. Ryan Howard has had injuries. Ryan Howard was always a bad defender. Chris Davis is not. So the comparison to Ryan Howard is Chris Davis is not Ryan Howard. They're different types of people, different personalities, not the same guy. The other one, Jim Thome. I like this comp. At the age 37, Jim Thome was hitting 34 home runs. And people talk about the contract. Oh, this contract is never going to go away. $17 million. We're never going to get past it. We can't sign Machado. And then they start making comparisons with the contract. Teixeira, Howard, right? Pujols. All those guys are making 25, 26. I think Pujols is 40, making $31 million. Davis is 17. 25 to 17 is a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. Preach.
And sometimes baseball is not all about making the perfect deal every time. It's just about being a better baseball club, right? What's the goal of every baseball team? To win the World Series.
Yes.
Does Chris Davis help you to reach that goal?
Yeah.
Assuming he's not suspended in the playoffs, yes.
Yes, he does. So let's chill out on the. Well, if I was in charge, Dan Duquette has a team of also. There's a whole department for sabermetrics who know what they're doing. Yeah. They haven't had a losing season in 4 years, yet these people on Twitter all think, no, actually this is not the most optimal deal. This will not be the best. Look, if you look at the Orioles team at the beginning of the offseason, this offseason had the chance to go horribly wrong. With so many free agents, we could be looking at one of the worst teams in baseball right now. Dan Duquette has done an amazing job to get Kim, to get Trumbo. He's done to re-sign Wieters, to get Davis, to get O'Day.
We brought back 3 of our 4 big free agents.
Yeah, no one expected
Chen is the only one who's gone.
No one. This season had a chance to go terribly wrong.
Yeah.
And worst case scenario, right now, we're a good team who has the potential to be a really good team.
Sure. 3 weeks ago, it looked like we'd sign Steve Pearce, and that would be our solution.
Yeah. But if the Nerds have their way again, it'll be replace them all with Marioki.
And the best part, the nice part about that deferred money is there's no interest attached, and 20 years from now, $3.5 million or whatever it is not going to affect your team. That's a little bit of money. It's not going to hamstring you.
The best part about the deferred money coming from a tax preparer like myself is that if Chris Davis remains a Texas resident,
Yeah, tax free.
he doesn't pay any state income tax on that $42 million he's going to collect when he's not playing for the Orioles anymore and he's just chilling out in Texas.
Yeah, it's a good deal for the Orioles because you think like inflation and stuff.
Right.
The loan is interest free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes no interest on it. I don't know. It just the thing that really ticks me off, and then I'll let this go. It's just the arrogance that some people think that they know what will happen in the future, and they can say, okay, I know who Chris Davis is based on some advanced analytics, and based on some comps.
Right.
I know exactly who he is. You don't know who he is, and you don't know what he's going to do. Could it turn out badly? Sure, but you don't know that.
Right.
And in the meantime, enjoy that this year we have a better chance of making the World Series and win the World Series than we do without him. So
Right.
enjoy that.
I mean, remember when we got him from Texas,
No one
they
wanted
did not expect him to make the major league team, let alone be the home run leader for 3 years.
Yeah, but Josh, no one wants to talk about that. We want to talk about Jake Arrieta and how he's awesome when he left.
Same
the Orioles.
thing.
No one wants to
Same
talk
thing.
about how players come to us and get good. We just want to talk about when they leave and get good.
Sure.
That's all we
But
wanna
no
talk
one
about.
expected that out of Jake Arrieta. It's the same thing. You can't base players off other players.
Right.
Everyone's different.
Right, because they're not robots. But the
That's
nerds
it.
don't realize
Thankfully,
that.
not
That's
yet.
a fair point that we don't give enough credit to. That, for as pissed off as we get about Jake Arrieta, we've had plenty of guys trades come over to us who other teams didn't want, and they flourished.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris Davis and Adam Jones are the two biggest ones.
I mean, even look at a guy like Chris Tillman.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it just makes you wonder if something like that couldn't happen to some of these left-handed free agent pitchers who are out there who are coming off of bad years, who struggled, who maybe they just need a change of scenery, and their
Where's
former teams will
our
regret
Jake
letting them go.
Arrieta?
Yeah, where's my Jake Arrieta?
Well, that's and who's the GM over there at the Chicago? Oh, what's his name? The,
Cubs, Theo Epstein.
Yeah, Theo Epstein. And there's part of this, like, if you are a team looking for pitching, this is what you have to do, and you're on a budget. This is what you have to do, right?
Yeah.
You find guys who are high draft picks. This is why Dan Duquette loves high draft picks, because it shows you they have talent, who just weren't able to put it together.
Now-
So you find those guys who had high talent, who's shown they were high draft picks or whatever, or throw hard, just haven't put together, and then you jump on that.
Yeah,
Right.
you need to change the scenery guy.
Yeah.
Like a Matt Latos.
Yeah,
To be-
like a Matt Latos. Yeah, to bring it full circle. There you go.
But you also got to wonder about. But for a young guy who's struggling, he's going to have way more confidence pitching in the NL East than the AL East. And you got to say, Jake Arrieta, he had a great season, but he also had some confidence that he could work on when he has to face the teams like the Braves 12 times.
Yeah.
It's different than the American League and National League pitching is different.
Yeah. Well, you get that pitcher at the bottom of the lineup every time.
Yeah, it helps to get the 9-hole out almost every time.
Yeah, you don't have to go up to Toronto and face Bautista and Encarnacion and Donaldson too.
Right.
It's
Stuff
true.
like that.
It's true. If you can pitch in the AL East, you can pitch anywhere. It's true. All right. Well, I feel better now. I don't know how you guys feel. I feel better now.
I feel better for you.
Yeah,
You made a lot of good points.
It was so frustrating. It's been so frustrating hearing these knuckleheads, and it's probably my own fault because that's all I follow on Twitter. And now I just trashed all the people I follow on Twitter who I enjoy following on Twitter. I just trashed them all, which probably wasn't a good Twitter decision move.
Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like us on Facebook.
Please send a hate mail to Josh.
That was my Sunday morning at church when I'm getting text messages from Matt saying, "Can you believe these idiots? Look at this stupid thing."
I can't stand it. I can't stand it. Yeah. That's all right. I'll let it go. All right. What's next? Can we move on? What's next in the show notes? Let's move on.
You're just a ball bag, my friend. Hey, ball bag, how you doing? What's your name again? It's ball bag, like posh.
When I get angry, it's hard for me to sometimes come back down from my anger. Josh, why the heck do I lose Wi-Fi every 5 minutes? Bert, do you keep on losing Wi-Fi?
No, I'm good.
Every 5 minutes I lose Wi-Fi. I have to sign back
It's
in.
your computer.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Why do you have to sign in?
Huh? I click it and I have to sign in the password every single time.
Yeah, that's a computer issue. That's not a Wi-Fi issue.
Well, it didn't happen to your old Wi-Fi.
No, remember at the old house we had to actually get you a wire to plug yourself in?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I guess I'll have to do that for you again.
That's right. All right.
All right, my first question in the ball bag fit right in with the discussion we were just having.
What is it?
The DH. The DH, there's discussion now. This is the final year of the MLB Player Association, not arbitration, but the the deal with Major League Baseball, so they go back to the contract tables this offseason. And the question is, and more owners are starting to come around. Of course, the players want it. Should the DH be in both leagues? Should it be in the American and the National League?
Yes.
Players want it because it's another spot. It's another role for a player. It helps extend the lifetime your lifetime in the Major League Baseball.
Because that would make it. What's the argument for keeping the pitcher besides tradition?
History, tradition.
Is that it?
That's about it.
The pureness of the game.
Yeah.
As we go to instant replay.
It's a bunch of old fogies that would like to keep it in there.
I
hate
As soon
interleague
as
play.
strike zone goes to lasers, being
Right.
called strike zone. Yeah,
I swear
I
about this every season, how much I hate interleague play because of it. It's stupid. And National
Right.
League always has the advantage. It's
Every
terrible.
time.
Yeah.
And I know people like to talk about how the strategy of having a pitcher, right? I'm sorry. I love baseball. I love the strategy of baseball. I'm more entertained by watching a guy like Trumbo play DH than watching Chen bat. Maybe not. That's a bad example. I am more entertained by Chen batting, but maybe a different player.
There's a few pitchers that you can enjoy batting. Chen,
Bartolo.
Bartolo. Right.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'd like to see a guy who can hit the ball.
Those guys can still bat. But if you're not one of those guys, then yeah, it's more entertaining to see the DHs. It makes for better baseball. I don't know. I don't understand the whole DH. And as far as if you're a team, you want to protect your pitchers. Why would you want them batting? I don't understand why it's still around.
Yeah, and I feel like baseball has changed over the years, and introducing interleague play was kind of the first step towards that.
Yeah.
That I would not be surprised if
You should play by the same rules.
we'll be going by. Yeah, especially with interleague play.
It would be like the AFC playing, saying, "Oh, we're not going to have a punter" or something like that, and you put another position on there, and the
Sure.
NFC having a punter. It would be something like
I'd
that.
be for that. If we can get rid of punters, I can go with that.
But Josh, that's our
That was
one
bad
good player on the
comparison.
Ravens. Why would you take away our one good player on the Ravens?
No, Morgan Cox also made the Pro Bowl.
Pro Bowl.
We have a nice long snapper.
Hey.
Well,
Nice.
anyone can long snap.
right. I believe we've had that discussion before. 30 minutes and you'll figure it out.
I'm still sticking with it. Yeah, that
Right.
anyone can do it.
All right. Next up, now that Chris Davis is locked in, we kind of talked a little bit about this earlier, but what do we do with our first base prospects? We've been grooming Christian Walker, Mancini, guys to play first base. Isn't that guy that we signed from China? Isn't he a first baseman as well?
Who?
Itchy Shu.
Oh yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
I think he's a first baseman. I
I
don't
forgot
even
about that.
to
Good call.
pronounce his
Yeah,
real
thank you.
name.
But he's
So-
real young, right?
He's 19.
Oh, okay, 19.
Yeah.
So these are guys we've been grooming for first base. First base is locked up now for 7 years, I'd hope. So
Hopefully.
So what do you do with these guys? Do you try to move them to another position? You try to move them to another team?
Hey, we got the DH position, right?
Do they help the Bay Sox win their championship each year?
Yeah, I don't think they're major league ready. I mean, you can see. I mean, they scream of trade bait, especially come around the All-Star break, around the trade deadline. You need that right fielder because you never handle in the offseason, or I mean left fielder, or because you had to cut Kim because he turned out to be terrible. I think they make good trade bait involved in the package. You hope they have a great year in the minors so you can get more back from them. Or you hold on to him. I mean, Trumbo's only going to be here for a year, and then you'll probably need a DH.
Yeah.
Or maybe Chris Davis eventually will move to DH, you would think, and they can play first base. So it's never having a depth at any position is never a problem. First base, like you want, like the Cubs did it right. If you're going to have depth at shortstop, because shortstops are the athletes. They can
Right.
play anywhere.
That's where we need it.
Yeah, first basemen are first basemen because they can't play anywhere else. so I mean, depth is good. First base probably not the best spot to have depth, but still, it's good to have depth.
All right. The season.
Well, no, I was gonna say. I mean, I feel like with spring training coming up, why not just see if a Walker can translate to a right field or Mancini can play some right field? And yeah, because if they're gonna mess up, let them mess up down in Sarasota, and not during the regular season.
Well, that's
It's true.
I
I don't understand, and I've heard people say that Mancini and Walker can't play right field. I don't understand. I don't understand how hard it is to stand on a right field. Like, I've seen Delman Young play. I don't understand why it was so hard for Delman Young to just catch a fly ball and throw it back in. I don't understand this. It seems like
because
you
they're the best athletes. They're the
Right.
best athletes. They're the
So
best
why-
baseball players.
So why can't you play right field if you're one of the best athletes in the world? Why can't you do it?
I don't know.
I never figured
I mean,
it out.
you got a guy like Gibbons who can
It's
move
not
from
shortstop.
shortstop to pitch, and
Yeah. And
if-
Paredes can't catch a ball at second base. I never understood it. I can't understand it. How do you get to this point in your career?
Paredes still on the team?
He's still on the
think
team.
so, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Hopefully they've been working on him on this.
I think
catching
I
the
read
ball
that
all off season.
he was playing in the Mexican League or Caribbean League, and he would been playing like right field every day. So I
Good.
don't know how much better that makes him.
Good.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, but the problem with Paredes is he was the downside offensively and defensively at the end of last year.
Yeah.
So even if he's offensively, we can put up with some of the defensive mistakes. But if he's bad on the offense, you can't handle. You can't.
Forget about it.
You know how when you're in high school and playing basketball, the coach will tell you to just dribble the ball all day, dribble. You think they're telling Paredes just keep tossing the ball up in the air, catching it, throw it up high as you're walking around. Catch
Yeah.
it.
Everywhere you go,
Everywhere you go, throw the ball
Take
up.
that baseball with you.
Keep that glove above your head.
Sleep with it under your pillow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who starts in right field? If you were to make the call now, is there any chance my dream of Cespedes on this team happens now? I don't think there is. So who would you put in right field?
So the options are what? Reimold, Hose,
Henry Uridia?
Urrutia,
yeah,
Alvarez.
Alvarez, Paredes,
Yeah, I guess.
Paredes, yeah.
or a mystery character like Mancini or something.
Right,
a mystery player.
or another Steve Pierce guy out there on the free agent market.
Or Steve Pierce.
Or Chris Davis.
Or Chris Davis.
Why not move Chris Davis to right field, Trumbo to first base?
You can put Weeders at
With
DH.
a-
Let Joseph catch. I
That-
think
that's a nice
that would be
lineup.
the best lineup. Right
That's
there.
the best lineup.
That would be the best offensive lineup.
If,
yes.
if Buck wants to get all the bats in, I
Yeah.
would enjoy that lineup.
I'm sure I would think that's a lineup we'll see on a Sunday. That sounds like a Sunday lineup.
Yeah.
Now we're projecting who could play right field, but that's all
This is all based on Kim playing left field.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
like what if Kim stinks? Then we need a left fielder and a right
He
fielder.
better not stink.
There's no
Well,
way.
it's a lot
There's
of.
no way Kim stinks. You can't. You can't.
That's true. He does have the
stink with
greatest theme
this.
song of all time. Na 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 na. Kim Hyun Soo.
So no one's concerned that he's 6'2" and weighs 250 pounds. Is everyone okay with that?
250?
Yeah.
That's a big boy. For a left fielder.
He's bigger than he should be. Let's just say that.
That's like Francisco size.
Let's just say everyone who's been talking about him batting leadoff. I don't.
Yeah,
You might want to slow your roll on that. Leadoff talk.
Maybe it's a little stereotype, thinking he must be short and fast.
Yeah. No, he's short and fat. More like it.
Well, maybe the American food will thin him down.
Yeah, I'm sure. Just go through McDonald's a few times.
Right. That'll loosen things up. But yeah, I mean, I guess we are distracted by Kim's theme song.
What about the? We didn't mention the Rule 5 guy from Tampa.
Joey Ricard.
Joey Ricard. Thank you, Bert.
I just got a text from the intern saying, "What about Joey Ricard, the Rule 5 pick?"
Yeah,
All right.
that's another guy, right?
Yeah, that's another guy.
No one's really talked about it. That's another guy.
Right. So we got guys.
He certainly is a
a
guy.
bunch of guys.
Do we have any players?
What?
Do we have a right fielder in that pile of guys?
I bet between all those guys, you can find a right fielder.
So then why do we need a right fielder?
I don't think we really.
We're
do.
just going to play utility right fielder.
What about Delman Young?
I'm sure he's available.
Still out there.
You know what I don't want? I don't want Dexter Fowler. I don't want to give up a draft pick for him.
I don't think there's anyone on the market besides like a big guy like Cespedes that I'd want to bring in for right field because I think with these other guys randomly in and out and the way they like to juggle the 40-man, we can get away with right field.
Yeah,
We can hide that position.
I think we'll end up seeing like a platoon of. I guess it depends on the starter, but we'll see Reimold and Alvarez. I think.
Yeah, maybe a little Flaherty.
Could throw him out
Especially
there.
if Hardy's healthy this year. I think Hardy's health is another big question. I thought
And the Orioles will have a couple young players who are too talented to keep with the Orioles that they'll want to trade at the All-Star break or at the trade deadline for a right fielder anyway. So you can trade your Josh Haders, whoever it is, this year for that right fielder. Because that's what the Orioles do.
you think we're right. You think we'll need a right fielder, not a pitcher come that time,
The price might be too high for a pitcher.
or you're just expecting big things from Gaussman. Is this year Gaussman moves into that
we
number
talked
one
about
slot?
it. You might not have been in the room.
He was in the producer.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's when I went to help out.
We all agree.
So you guys did talk
this
about
is year
this
for
is the
Gaussman.
year.
This is the year,
This is it.
Yeah, this
not
is
the
it.
year for Bundy, but the year for Gaussman.
Bundy next year maybe. Harvey 2 years maybe.
All right,
This year Gaussman.
all right. Final question in the ball bag. What do you think the name of the new Norfolk Tide Seahorse mascot should be?
They're down to 5 selections that people can vote on.
Of course, Bert will be all over this. Yeah, go ahead.
They are Berkeley, which we found out is the name of a bridge or a town near Norfolk.
There's a Berkeley Bridge in Norfolk.
There you go.
Now, I'm assuming that bridge is named after something, but I didn't get that much into my
Yeah.
research.
There's Seymour, but it's spelled S-E-A more, so you got like the sea where seahorses live. Skipper,
And the more for more home runs or something.
sure. Sonar.
I don't
and-
think we said the word dog one time in the Chris Davis discussion. By
I was
the way.
going to bring that up.
Yeah,
yes.
all right, go ahead.
You promised us at least 10 dollars.
Yeah,
I know.
we'll give you 10 dongs at the end.
I'll sneak the dongs in here at the end. That's
And the
4
fifth and
minutes, by the way.
final one is Triton. I'm going with Berkeley because it's.
I like Berkeley.
I don't know anything about the Berkeley Bridge, but I like it better than the other ones.
I think they should have went with Dong. Dong the seahorse.
I would have liked that.
Do you know what I like about Berkeley? In You've Got Mail, Berkeley was the name of Tom Hanks's dog.
Get out of here!
Yeah.
And wasn't that the name of Big Bird's dog?
I don't know Big Bird's dog.
It
Oh, that
sounds
was
familiar.
Barkley.
Yeah, that's Barkley.
Barkley. I was close.
I like the minor league teams that give a little shout out to the major league team in the name, like the Ironbirds.
Sure.
Like
Right.
I
But
like
is there
more
any-
connection.
But is there a bird that could be underwater?
No.
That's why they went with the
Seahawk.
seahorse. Seahawk.
why does it have to be underwater?
I don't know, because they were like the tides.
Yeah, I don't.
They're the tides.
I know, but why can't you do something connecting back to the Orioles?
Yeah, they could.
Yeah, they could have went with seagulls. Something like
I
that.
don't know. I'm not suggesting the name. I'm just saying.
I would have liked something like that too.
Yeah, I like.
Something-
That shows
Yeah,
the
you're right.
connection
They should have.
with the
They should have stuck
organization.
with a bird.
I mean,
If-
the Bay Sox aren't a bird, but
but they should be. The
Bay
Keys
Sox aren't even a
but they
thing.
should be.
we got the Shorebirds, right?
Yes.
The Delmarva Shorebirds,
Yes.
the Frederick Keys,
The Keys.
Aberdeen,
The
right?
the
the Ironbirds.
right.
The Keys
Right.
are named after Francis Scott Key,
Yeah,
right?
so,
Right.
so that's Baltimore connection.
Okay,
You can't
okay.
go wrong with that.
Yeah.
I'm not even talking about birds. Get off birds, Josh.
All right. Well,
Just
the Bay
Baltimore
Sox.
connection.
Bay Sox is the Chesapeake Bay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I'm okay with that. Because again, that's local to Baltimore.
They're all in Maryland,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Norfolk's in Virginia.
Right, but the Orioles are in Maryland. The Orioles are. This is why they're there.
But see,
They're there for us.
but minor league teams are weird because like
They're quirky.
the Orioles have a contract with the Tides.
Right.
And at some point that contract can run out, and
We
then
go
the
to
Tides
Ottawa.
become
And we go to Ottawa.
exactly.
'Cause they used to have who? Rochester, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
right.
just have Rochester, the Red Wings.
Yep.
Yeah. See, Red Wings. There's some connection there.
No, there isn't.
Well, you got wings.
Bird.
Get outta
Bird
here.
wings.
Right, right.
That's what I thought.
Birds
yeah.
have wings.
No, I'm all for them taking a name that is close to Norfolk because they're
Well,
their
that-
team, and if they don't belong to the Orioles, they're going to belong to somebody else. So they might as well keep their homage to their town of Norfolk.
Well, you
That's
know-
my vote for Berkeley Bridge.
You know the Washington Nationals have a minor league team in Potomac. Do you know what their name is?
The
No.
Nationals.
The Potomac Nationals.
Boring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's too much. That's
They
too
were
much a connection.
Very original by them.
That's
Right.
the Red Sox too.
Well, they
Yeah.
took their W from
Paul
Walgreens.
Tucker
The minor
Red
league
Sox.
had the same name. They're
Right.
copying everybody.
Right. Yeah, it's because the Potomac Walgreens is already down the street.
I don't understand why they had. Was it Seahorses the mascot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still don't understand why it can't be a big wave.
Well, it was
what
for
it
many
used to be.
years.
Right, but why is a guy coming out dressed as a wave?
No, someone's going to come out dressed as a seahorse.
I want someone coming out dressed as a wave.
That's not a thing.
doesn't work.
Why can't that be a thing?
They just need to have a big wave pool out in center field, like Arizona does.
Plus,
Oh yeah, you put a wave pool out there. Now we're talking.
Plus we
The
don't-
wave pool is the mascot.
they're in Norfolk. You can't have a wave pool in Norfolk. The weather sucks.
You can't make me a wave costume.
Here's the big problem. We've all agreed at this.
Josh-
the wave does not belong in baseball.
Yeah, you just hate the wave. This is about you.
That's a good point.
See,
Ban
see,
the wave.
The
Ban
wave.
the
The
wave.
waves are gone. The wave has been so banned. Norfolk Tide had to change their little mascot guy.
Eric. I've had this discussion with them many times about the wave, but we have a new person here. So I would like to talk to you, Eric, about the wave for a second.
Okay.
Because I have a different approach on the wave. I think the wave is a great thing. Eric, can I just ask you just a basic question, Eric?
Uh huh.
Why do you go to a baseball game?
To watch my favorite team play
Yeah.
and win.
Yeah. And when they win, you are entertained, right?
I am.
So for my vantage point is anything that entertains is a good thing at a baseball game. When people stand up and do the wave, does it look like they're having fun?
Yeah, but I don't want to watch the people in the crowd. I came to watch. I didn't pay to watch. Jim from Dundalk down the street in his cutoff shorts, lifting up his shirt so his belly sticks out.
Hey, I know Jim, and I like those cutoff shorts. But But everyone, when you watch the wave, everyone's standing up having a good time, except for Josh, the old curmudgeon with his arm crossed, sitting there. What are these kids doing the wave for? Kids doing the wave during the game. Everyone's having a great time though. And hey, I'm amazing. I understand not everyone's as amazing as I am, but I can do the wave, stand up, put my arms in the air while watching a baseball game. I can do both. Not everyone can do both, but I can stand up and put my hands in the air while watching the baseball game.
The biggest problem with the wave is the
I'm talking to Eric, by the way, Josh, but all right, jump in.
I gotta jump in.
I'm having a conversation with Eric.
The problem is not you standing up and putting your hands up. The problem is the stupid people that don't know when it's appropriate to do the wave. It's not appropriate to do the wave while we're recording the podcast and you're in the window. It's not appropriate to do the wave.
It's fun. It's fun.
Because
look at that. You can't not smile to see the intern do the
because
wave.
here's what happens.
Show us your belly.
There's a big moment. There's a big pitch I want to see, and everyone around me has their heads turned to the right because they want to make sure they don't miss the wave coming by when all I care about is that pitch crossing that plate.
Oh, there's 150 of them. Well, 300 if you count both teams. You have to see 300 pitches?
300 pitches?
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Yeah.
If I'm keeping my scorebook, I have to see every single pitch.
Right.
How often do you keep your scorebook, Bert? How many people are there keeping their scorebook? You don't have to see every pitch.
Man over 70.
And
You're saying a 5-0 game, a 2-0 count. You need to see that 2-0 pitch?
Here's the problem.
Spoiler alert, if Jimenez pitching, it's going to be a ball.
It can be a 5-0 game, bases loaded, with Chris Davis at the plate, and there's some stupid people trying to get the wave started.
No. I agree you don't do the wave at key moments in the game. But
there
there's very few
people will.
key moments in a game.
Thanks to two things, college kids and alcohol.
You always have those guys on like the other end of the bullpen wave into like section 90.
It's always the guy in the
their
cheap
arm.
seats who wants to run. They want to run down to where the stairs go up and make the game all about them. Mm-hmm. And then
they're making it all about fun. Heaven forbid they make the game all about fun.
No,
Josh is a grouch.
The way
on, you stupid kid.
You know how I know they're making it about them? Because they get angry if people don't do the wave. That's how I know it's about them.
You put yourself out there, stand up in front of everybody, have people ignore you and throw things at you. See if you don't get mad, Josh. Try to lead the wave, Josh, and people not do it, and try not to get mad as they shout obscenities at you.
No, why would I be in that position?
I'm just saying they're angry for a reason. They're not angry because it's all
angry
about them.
because they're angry because people are watching the game, not them.
Oh,
They're not paying attention to them.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they're angry because
I
you're not
agree with
watching
that.
them. You're not counting their 3 count for their little wave where they're trying to tell everyone which direction we're going to go, and half the time they get the direction wrong. If you're going to do the wave, you got to start at first base and go to third base.
No, he's laying down the rules for the
If
wave.
you try to do it the other way, you're screwing everyone up.
Yeah.
This is madness.
yeah. We got to get off the wave talk. This is why we avoid wave conversations on the podcast because they just break down to screaming.
Thanks a lot, Norfolk.
Yeah. Yeah, where do we start here? Norfolk? Come on.
There's been too much screaming on this episode, Eric. I'm sorry. We don't always scream this
you're-
much.
That's all right.
So we're a passionate bunch of guys.
You know what happened?
Exactly.
The Orioles actually did something. It woke us all up.
we all
No
got
one knows
excited
how to
about it.
react.
Hey Eric, we have some time at the end, and we have some time here at the end of the podcast. I don't think we have time for the NFL playoff talk, even though it's in the show notes.
That's all right.
Not really time for the Terp talk.
No.
They blew out Ohio State. We'll talk more about it later. They're playing tonight. Look like they're handling Northwestern. But Eric, you have a podcast, right? You guys are 5 episodes in. Can you tell us kind of the idea behind the podcast and why you started it?
Yeah, it's the Barstool DMV / Baltimore podcast. We it's me and then our Ravens writer Banks. He came to me one day. He said, I kind of want to get more opinions out on Orioles and Caps and Ravens, stuff like that. So I said, all right, let's fire this podcast up. Hopped on SoundCloud, tried to learn everything. We don't have it as down as you guys do, but
Right.
no, yeah, we just
Yeah.
wanted to be able to talk like you guys, Orioles. We do a little NFL.
Okay.
We talk Ravens. We had our Redskins guy on, who's our boss, a few weeks ago, and they lost in the playoffs, which was so heartbreaking to no one. We've done Terps. We're just trying to get in. I guess just our sports takes out on everything.
Yeah, well, when we started this thing, and I confess, when we first did our first episode, I had never listened to a single podcast before. Like, we just kind of, like Josh and Bert, I think, had a couple podcasts they liked that we kind of modeled it out of, or off of. As far as your knowledge of podcasts, there's been a bunch of Baltimore podcasts popping on the scene recently.
Yeah.
What was kind of your knowledge, and is there like a certain vibe that you've taken from a certain show or a certain style you're trying to do? And
Yeah, I mean, I guess like I've listened to yours a bunch. I watched the first
answer.
the first live one. I thought that was really neat.
That's what I'm talking about.
Like, it's, like we record on YouTube, but we don't have the video. We just rip the audio. So
Right.
I thought having this was awesome. I
Right.
really enjoyed that. I've listened to what's the Backwards K. I've heard a few. I think
Yeah,
there
with
are
our
two-
yeah, our
With
guy
Ryan
Ryan.
Blake.
yeah. I've heard.
And we've had them in here before too.
I've heard. I think they have 3 out.
Yeah, they're another
two.
new one to the scene.
Yeah.
And they're cool because they don't just cover the Orioles. They kind of try to cover all of baseball.
Yeah, they kind of tried to do all over. So I've listened to those two pretty much. I'm not a Ravens fan. I'll say that. But I haven't listened to any of the Ravens podcasts. I know there are some out there. But I kind of just tried to I want to listen to as many as I can and try and take just little stuff away from each one. So
Yeah.
hopefully in the future I'll build. Art,
Yeah, that's great.
a little
We
more.
the more the merrier. We are trying to destroy 105.7 and have podcasts
Right.
take over the world is what we're trying to do.
Yeah, we
So
don't-
the more quality sports podcasts, Baltimore's podcasts we can get out there, the better. So it's great to have you in the podcast community.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Josh, remember when Matt used to call them podcasts?
Podcast.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, the Cine Podcast.
Go back and listen to episode 1 here, Matt. Go welcome to our Section 336 podcast.
Yeah, speaking of
Please don't listen to episode
speaking
one.
of podcasts,
It's pretty rough.
we should thank the Baltimoreans on their latest episode. They had a lot of good things to say about us.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, not just the studio looks good, but that we've actually been doing good shows.
Oh,
So thank you to
that means a lot coming
those
from
guys.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They know how to put on a quality show. Now, if they would put on a quality show a little more often,
Yeah, if they
everybody
talk-
would be happier.
Right, and if they talk Orioles a little more often
Yeah.
instead of Hillary and
See,
whatever else.
I enjoy the other stuff, but yeah. But they have the Baltimoreans, Orioles podcast. Yeah.
them. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Hey, we should remind people, if they missed last week, that we are going to be in spring training, Sarasota, March 5th, 6th, and 7th.
How did you miss last week? You can go back and download at any point. Why would you miss it? It's not like
We might
gotta
have
tune
some
in at
new
this
people.
one particular time.
We might have new people this week.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, well, anyway, if you're going to be in Sarasota, if you're going to visit spring training, that's when we're going to be there. If you're going to be there at the same time, hit us up. We'd love to hang out.
Yeah, absolutely. More updates to come with that in the future.
And now I'm interfering with the intern's music.
Oh, yeah, the intern is Zany Barodi sharing a mic. I love it. Intern, thoughts, corrections, fun facts, analyses.
So I looked up Parr's batting average. It was 237 for the Orioles.
Yeah, Poirier's bad.
right, bad.
See, just we get anybody, we're getting better in that position. Yeah, he's bad.
And Justin Upton's contract was 6 years, not 7 years. Matt, you let that slip in a little bit.
All right, 6 years, sure.
Yeah.
All right, fine, intern. 6 years.
Tigers spent a lot of money this offseason.
$200
Yeah.
million contracts.
Yeah.
in Missouri.
Yeah, they are all in, as the saying goes.
And just a fun fact. Found out
Love
for
it.
2016, Pujols is going to be paid $25 million by the Angels.
26 this year?
No, 25 for 2016.
Sorry, I wasn't
So
listening.
he's being paid 25 this year.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
A lot of cash.
All right.
Yeah, it's a lot of cash. His deal is so much larger than the Davis deal. The Davis deal is
Yeah.
manageable. You can sign to the guys. You make other moves with the Davis deal. It doesn't hamstring you that much.
Yeah,
Right.
you can work around it.
You can absolutely.
Thank you,
can.
intern, for handling the cameras.
Thanks, intern. Intern pulling double duty. He's still pulling all the corrections. He's doing that. I assume he's on Twitter blasting out awesome things we're saying.
Blasting it.
About as much as we used to do.
All right, fine.
I think-
Also has control of the mics. I'm curious to check back and look back at the video feed and see how he did.
This is
I'm
by
sure he did a
far
great
the
job.
most work he's ever had to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Did we get past the freeze moment? Are we
Uh,
actually still having video?
we crashed halfway through.
Yeah.
I guess we were just so popular.
So if someone's watching
Sure.
it,
And,
yeah,
we had-
overload
so we
the
had to
system.
restart it.
If there's above 5 people on our YouTube page at any point, it just crashes.
Right.
We're still working
I
out
don't
the
know.
kinks. This is only week 3.
Yeah, still working out the kinks. The truth is, the software we're doing to make all this work is beta software. It's not fully developed.
Ah.
And I loaded a new update to the beta today, and I think that caused some problems. So
Gotcha.
by next week it'll be. It's real nerd talk, but
I
Here's the difference,
updated
Matt.
the new beta.
And I hate the wave.
the difference is
Stupid kids, all about them.
we tried to do cameras a year ago, and I couldn't get more than 2 cameras working.
Yeah.
So thanks to this software that's not fully developed, but it's enough that it's letting us do our 4-5 cameras.
Yeah, just one step closer to taking over the world. I love it.
I love it too.
All right, well, we appreciate the listener joining us. We appreciate having Eric in studio. You can follow Eric on Twitter. Eric, what's your Twitter handle?
It's at Barstool RDT.
All right, you can follow him.
What's the RDT?
My last name. How do you
Gotcha.
pronounce it?
Gotcha.
You can, of course, do all the usual stuff like us on Facebook. You should check out Eric's Barstool podcast. You can find that on
And
his
the
Twitter
blog.
handle. Yeah.
I know you write for him too.
Yep. Barstoolsports.com.
Right. Check out his Oriole articles.
We can put a link there in our show notes. I assume. I don't think we even do the show notes. Derek does, but Derek can put a link on there.
Yeah,
Derek.
Derek handles all that.
Yeah, so Derek can
But
do
if
that.
you want Derek to put something, just say it right here, and he'll write it in the show
Derek,
notes.
put a link to Eric's Barstool website on here.
Thanks, Derek.
Did I say write a review on iTunes? Can someone write a review on iTunes?
Yeah, can we please get that slippery snake one as not being the
That's
top?
the last one, and it makes me seriously
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's the first thing people are going to see when they see our podcast. All right, Section 336. What does it say? Stroke a slippery snake?
Something like that. Yeah.
What is that?
I don't know.
What does
Can
that even mean? Get that out of here, people.
Maybe we'll have a prize, or we'll at least give you a shout out for the next if you can get a review up there, so we can push that thing down.
Yeah, we can work something out with like Bert will give you a wink at the minute 14
Right.
mark. He'll give you a little wink
Right.
and a finger point.
That's our type of prizes we give out now.
I might give the double finger point and a wink.
Right.
I'll flash somebody the next time I take off my sweatshirt. We'll figure something out.
Keep commenting on YouTube. We're getting great comments on YouTube.
Yeah, somebody just said yo yo yo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I prefer the ones about Josh being fat. That's I thought he was fatter. I prefer those.
Right. I'm working on it. I'm working on gaining weight just with that one guy.
There you go.
You can follow the show on Twitter at Section 336 The Show. Is that right? At Section 336
Show.
Show. There's no the.
No the.
No the. Just show.
Section 336
Oh,
show.
just Section 336 Show.
Yes. Yeah, you'll find the same thing in 2 Corinthians.
Yeah. And read your Bible. 2 Corinthians. You can, that's it. You can follow me on Twitter at Section 336. You can follow Bert.
At Bert Brody.
You can follow Josh.
At Josh Soroka.
And you can follow the intern.
At WW Intern.
You can keep at least try to shout
I
through the
want
window or
to
something.
try to shout it through the window
Yeah.
or bang it.
He should have one of those mics where he's like WW Intern.
All right, boys and girls, thanks for listening. And as always, go O's.
Section 336 is a affiliate of 24/7 Networks. Find Section 336 on UtahStreetReport.com.